Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at IonQ. It is time for another update, and this stock refuses to let go of the overwhelmingly bullish scenario where we can expect a quite explosive breakout. This doesn't mean that it is the more likely scenario. We have two main interpretations with two quite different support zones we can track, and the probabilities are quite evenly spread, so positioning within these is going to be certainly more difficult than within your regular stocks. Now, let's start with the simpler structure. In white, we have been tracking this idea of a wave 1 up, and this would be a wave 2 down. That would be currently in formation. This would be our typical 1-2 setup, right? We can even ignore the internal structure within this as a wave 1. All we really care about is that we have 5 waves up. We are looking for 3 waves down into the support zone, starting from $43 down to $31. As long as we do not get a sustained break below this last level of support, we can still expect with high probabilities that we will see at least another 5-way move to the upside that should take us to significantly higher prices. If we manage to reach this support area, we can expect pretty good risk-reward ratios, right? From $31, we could easily be looking even at a tripling in price. But we have no guarantee that we will get there, especially as this structure is rather resembling the possibility of something significantly more bullish. So I have previously shared this idea of a series of 1-2 setups instead, where it could be even a bit difficult to get the full picture, the full exact count, but we would basically be looking at every single pair of wave up and wave down to be a 1-2 setup, where yes, even this would have been a possible 1-2 setup, even this could be a possible 1-2 setup, and I still believe this is a very realistic possibility. If we look at different charts, different structures where a substantial move has occurred, it does often start with such structures. I have even previously presented this blue channel that would have allowed us to track such a pattern, and we have broken it, but only briefly. In what we could safely consider to be a throw under, it has recovered back above this trend line most recently, and it is now testing it from above once again. This already has several touch points, and it seems to refuse to let go of this trend line, let alone the support zones that we would be tracking internally within such a structure, where again, I mentioned this would be a 1-2 setup, this would be another 1-2 setup, and even most recently, within this movement to the upside, we could technically consider this to have been, we have to go within a very small time frame, but we could maybe look at this as something like a 5-wave move to the upside that would allow this to be considered another 1-2 setup. Yeah, we can actually even look at the support levels for such an interpretation down to the 78.6% retracement. It has touched it perfectly, it has bounced off, and sure, the structure up isn't the most reliable one, but we have to consider the time frame here. So especially as we are still holding this channel and we do not get a lower low in this overall movement, I wouldn't be surprised to see an explosion. And once again, it is within a very small time frame, and these structures are extremely fragile. But even if the channel doesn't ultimately hold, I wouldn't dismiss the possibility of a direct breakout. I would still be watching this blue area of support to have the possibility to still create this extreme power in a potential wave 3, where if we want, we can even look at an ideal target, which is the 138.2% extension of the wave 1. This would be expected to be the internal wave 3. Remember how many 1-2 setups we have identified? We could be looking for just as many 4-5 patterns afterwards before we complete a larger impulse within this overall chart, right? Even this internal wave 3 could far exceed these targets. Overall, we can be looking at quite substantial upside. And as I was saying, the probabilities are quite evenly split, which is what makes tracking these two different scenarios rather difficult indeed. I am waiting to see more evidence on how this develops. I couldn't tell you at this point which scenario would play out, but certainly, at least as long as we hold the channel, I will prefer the blue interpretation. as long as we do not get a reset of the current wave 2 in blue, I do still find it decently likely to eventually follow through within this scenario, right? As long as this wave 2 in blue holds. And maybe, even as we get a reset against the 61.8% retracement, I would probably need even more, a confirmation that a bottom would be in, to once again have more trust in a reversal in a wave 3 in this structure. Then in terms of timeline, for the blue structure, I am perfectly happy to have a bottom in place. I do not really care for even further extensions, but if we were to start a larger wave 2 correction in white, we could honestly expect this to even take a few weeks, maybe even a month. Yeah, it could take some time before we would complete this as a larger wave 2 correction. The proportions are significantly larger. And for now, we will stop here. These are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.